Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Myles From Home. Lovely to have you with me. I'm looking forward to this conversation a lot. Matt Mays is going to be joining us in a couple minutes. But first, I just want to talk a little bit. I want to thank you for watching the last show. I hope you enjoyed it. I thought Rainey Smith was amazing. If you haven't seen it, you can go check it out. It's still up on YouTube. That's the beauty of these shows. They stay up on YouTube for a while. Matt is going to be a great guest. I know he is. I've been listening to his music a lot, preparing for this interview, thinking about what his music is about. You know, some of the themes of his music. There's adventure, there's travel, there's the ocean, there's nature, there's partying, you know. But more than anything, it seems to me that Matt's music is about friendship. Matt Mays sings about friendship. He does it in a bunch of the songs. I mean, think about On the Hood. They're looking for hits. I just want to lie on the hood of an old car with my girlfriend and my real friends until the end. I know, I feel that. I know what you're saying, Matt, and I love that. I mean, they're looking for hits. I just want to hang out with my buds. That's all he's saying. And he's kind of kept that real through his music through all these years. And I really dig that. And it's made me think a lot about friendship, think about my own friends, how grateful I am to have the friends I have, especially over the last 5 months. I mean, I can't imagine what this would have been like to not have real friends, as Matt calls them, to go to. You know, real friends, to me, I think about that term and I think about what are friends? Well, friends are people that you can share not only your good times with, but your bad times. You know, they're the ones that you're going to talk about the difficulties and they're going to help you through that. You don't have to hide anything about you. They're there for the whole picture of what you are. That's what makes a real friend, right? You don't have to hide anything. You don't have to be a certain way. They're there for every part of you. And it's so important to have those people in your life, especially when you're going through hard times. And what's been interesting about this pandemic is that, of course, there's been a lot of times for everybody that have been really difficult that they want to reach out to someone. And, you know, where we might have run into people dropping our kids off at school or going to a coffee shop or out at a restaurant and had a conversation that would change our mood where we would, we would commiserate about what's going on in our lives and you come out feeling better. Those kind of things haven't been happening. So not only are those conversations more important, they're actually just more difficult to have. They have to be more deliberate. You have to do them by way of text, by picking up the phone, having a Zoom call with a friend. And it takes that much more effort, but at the same time, it means that much more when you do that. And I think about all those conversations I've had since the beginning of this pandemic, and I'm just so grateful to my friends. So I just wanted to start by saying that really Matt's right. Friendship is everything. It's so important. I even asked my daughter, I said, well, what's friendship mean to you? I'm about to talk about friendship on the talk show tonight. And she said, well, friends are important, you see, because grown-ups don't understand our lives. Grown-ups don't understand. I said, we can't talk to grown-ups about everything. I need to talk to my friends about our experience that we have together. I loved it. I thought it was a great answer. So Matt Mays is right. It's all about friendship. And we have a soundtrack, an amazing soundtrack of music, thanks to Matt Mays. So if you're ever feeling like celebrating your buds, your friends, you can listen to Matt Mays, and he's got tons of songs to talk about it. And I love that about his music. And I really like Matt as a person, as a friend, and I'm looking forward to chatting with him. But I suspect many of you are looking forward to it too. So I just want to say, if you have any questions at all that you want to ask Matt, I can see the comments. That's what makes this fun. It's live. It's live. I can see the comments. So you fire the questions that you want to see, you want to have me ask Matt, and I'll do my best. I'll keep an eye on what's going on over there, and we'll have a great time. I'm going to call him up. I hope everybody can hear me, and I hope you're watching from all over the place. Definitely say hi if you want to say hi. I'm going to give Matt a call right now. I'm going to get my tech game on and give him a call. Let's see how this works. Oh, there's the music. He's got to be close. He's got to be close.
Hi.
Hey, oh, I don't see. I hear you, but
Okay. Yeah.
oh, there you
Hey,
are, buddy.
hey.
We did it. We're like pros, man. We're real pros.
Yeah, yeah, I got this kind of figured out.
That's nice to see you, bud. Thanks for doing this.
Oh man, no sweat. I was excited to get to do it and talk to you, man. I love our conversations, and it's nice to finally get to do it.
Well, you know, it's funny. I was telling you I was going to do a little, monologue. And so, yeah,
I
I decided that I was going to talk about, to me, I've listened to all your music like over the last little while. I've been getting really into it, getting ready for this. And I was thinking, when I think about you, when I think about your music and all the things you talk about, the thing that really strikes me about it is that it's about friendship. It's like, and I mean, this is me reading into it, but it feels like there's all these different themes, There's all these different themes, but friendship, it's kind of, to me, is what makes your music unique. Not everybody talks about friendship the same way you do. And you do in a lot of your records. I love that. And I think it's really important to you too in your personal life because it comes out in your writing, but I think that's such a cool thing.
Well, that's nice to hear you say that, David. I feel like I've been insanely blessed with the quality and the amount of friendship I've had in my lifetime so far, and I think it's been bigger than anything, outside of family. It's this reoccurring hug, omnipresent hug I have from all these incredible people, and somehow it sort of remained really strong. Although most of them I still have, and I talk to them. I have a thread of friends. We talk to each other. There's 15 of us. Some are bioterror experts on preventing bioterrorism and for the UN. Others are carpenters. Others are lawyers. And we all talk all day long, and we're there for each other. And I think I don't know. I feel like it's just sort of celebrating that all the time, and I guess that's maybe why that comes out in the music.
It's pretty unique. I mean, you're especially that crew. Like, I mean, I know some of those guys, and I was talking to one of them just a couple of days ago, asking him about how it was going. He's like, "Oh no, the thread is going strong.
Yeah.
It's very much a part of
Well,
everyone's life."
yeah, that's it. I mean, like some days, we call it like it's sort of quiet on the line sometimes, and there's like, nobody on. There's 15 people that could be on but aren't, and we kind of get a little lax sometimes. But during the lockdown, I felt super lucky to know somebody was always there to you never feel alone. The threads were going off, and it wasn't just about good and funny stuff. It was about a lot of the hard times we were each individually going through, and we're not afraid to talk about it. And I think that really kind of helped the process for me, is having that whole my support group there, I guess.
It's so well. I mean, that's ended up being what I talked about, was just this idea of like that friends are the ones that you actually. That's what makes them friends, is that you don't just talk about the good times. They're the ones that actually listen
Yeah,
to you when you're having a hard time. People who aren't
yeah,
your friends don't
totally.
have to listen to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Like even today, like our mutual friend Jacob. You go way back with Jake, and he he's really into running right now. He's running like 40 kilometers in like 20 minutes in 40-degree heat, and I'm trying to do like five. Getting working through injuries, and he's been on the phone with me all day trying to go like do this stretch or that stretch, and even if it's something to do with I want to kind of get out and run because of just him. I want to sort of impress him and be like, look, I did this, man. And it's been good. And but yeah, no,
I
friendship.
find it
Yeah,
very inspiring, especially that you've been friends with these guys for so long. And I mean, and your career has taken you all over the place, yet you've stayed pretty grounded with these cats, all these guys.
yeah, yeah. No, exactly. It's we're all very very serious about it. And our annual kayak trip is at the end of the summer, and it's like mandatory. Like everybody's family really understands our bond is insanely strong. It's one time a year where we all have to be together for physically at least once.
Right.
So, anyways, yeah, yeah. So it's I think that's my favorite one of my favorite things in life, and I like to sing about it, I suppose.
Well, it actually is inspiring, I think, for a lot of other people. I mean, I think it's actually part of why people enjoy going to your shows and watching the performances and being part of the music, is because they feel like it is a celebration of camaraderie. The band, the way you talk about the band, right? it's very much about that as well. It's
Sorry, can you guys just keep her on the DL a bit more over there? Christine Roof?
good. We'll talk about them in a little bit.
Okay, yeah, sure. If uh, I've lost my train of thought.
Oh, I was
What were we
just saying
talking
the
about,
shows,
Dave?
yeah, like camaraderie in the band and just the
Yes,
shows,
yeah.
the vibe on stage and in the crowd. It's very much a celebration of that, right? Of camaraderie and being together in it.
Absolutely, yeah. It always feels weird to just have it under my name. I just sort of want to do it more like sort of under the band's name, and I feel like I've kind of gone too far with being a solo artist to do that. But to me, it just feels like it's just a one big band together, and we're just all very close. And I think you can hear it in the music, I think playing with another band that I didn't know very well, I think the music would be way different, and I don't think it maybe would come across as well or something, or maybe
Right.
wouldn't meld with the words as much as it could with, say, playing with brothers who know everything about me and know my insecurities and my ego, or all of this.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that really is, music is so um, I don't know. It's such it's an extension. It's another sense or whatever, that I think if you make it with people whose sort of um, outside fifth dimension really well. It sounds kind of hippy dippy, but I think once, let's say, the six of us get together and all of our sort of auras mingle, and the music just kind of happens itself. I've played music with strangers, and that's fun too, but you don't get that sort of that depth.
Right.
So if somebody in the band's having a real downer, we go up on stage and we play for them, and they know that we're playing for them, or if, it's a real support system too. And again, I don't know how I got so lucky with having such an incredible bunch of people in my band. But say, like, I've known, say, playing with Ryan, and I've been playing with Serge for 20 years now, and Ryan and Adam for a long time, and Leith, but Melissa Payne sort of just joined the band, and I've only known Melissa for 2 years, and her and I we feel like her brother and sister. Like, we feel like we know everything about each other already, and we know a lot about each other because we feel comfortable with each other. And then
Right.
in turn, the music, I love making music with her because it feels like I've known her for 100 years, and so there is an argument to this. So it's sort of that newness in playing with
Well, I
somebody,
think
but
also you open yourself up to that, right? It's the way you play, it's the way you interact with the band. You also shine a light. You're one of those people who shines a light on the band members. You like that. You know what I mean? You talk about you want to bring attention to the band. You don't necessarily
yeah,
need to be
yeah,
the center. You want the solos to be awesome. You want
right,
it to be
right,
more than just attention on you. You know what I mean? And you want it to be like, oh yeah, check out how awesome Adam is, how awesome Ryan. Look at Leith play a
yeah,
guitar.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, you're not going to have
right.
Leith in the band unless you want to draw attention to him because he's so insane.
Dave, man, there's people coming to shows that are like they're chanting for him before the show, and not me. Like, we're at like multiple venues. Like, he's been such a good ego check for me. Like, there's like a bunch of people wearing like Leaf t-shirts, like Lethal Weapon t-shirts, and none of my t-shirts, all in front of me, and they're all looking at him instead of me when we're playing, and I'm just like, okay, I guess this
Yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense,
It's about the music. It's about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
music.
so it's been good. It makes me happy. But going on with what you're saying, it's totally true. You see a performer like Leith, and it's my duty to, if I can in any way get him in front of more people, I will, because people need to see him play, and I feel that way about all of everybody in my band.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah,
know,
I love it
yeah,
too. I mean, it's a part of the reason I love playing music too. I've been lucky
yeah,
to play with a same band for a long, long time. It's one of the great joys in life to
totally,
experience that together. It's a very special bond. And as you
yeah,
said, it's just something about the openness of creation, when you're in that creative spirit, to be completely unafraid, as unafraid as you can be, right? And when you have
yeah.
that support of you're in it together, it really does change that. You can be very open, you can try things. There's the risk element is different.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I struggle a lot with uh, I guess shyness, or problems with some social situations, or anxiety, or whatever you want to call it. And I think it's quite common with a lot of people who seem like extroverts because of the way what art they make. But with me, I have a real hard time with that. And sometimes I turn to booze, or just stay in, or whatever. But when I'm on stage, um, that all goes away, and I kind of turn into this other version of myself that when I get on the stage, I feel so relieved that I'm not nervous in front of
Wow.
people, or I have to have a conversation with somebody. And I think that's why I have a big band, because it's like I have this gang behind me to kind of be there for me to go through this. So it's that's why I love performing so much, and that's why I look like a complete idiot up there most of the time, because I'm just, I can actually explode and
Wow.
be my flamboyant self, and
And people
but
must
on
assume
it,
that that's who you are all the time.
they do all the time. And then you hear sort of, people when they come up to talk to you, they think like they're talking to that Matt, and they're not at all. So it kind of, to me, it's like, it kind of just caused some weird, it didn't really help with the sort of the social sort of confusion, I guess, or fear. But the more I sort of been recognizing it, the more I've been sort of addressing it, like off stage, with so I have a really great analyst, that is really great. She works with other artists, apparently, and I really enjoy talking to her about this because she's very experienced. But when I'm on stage, I can, now that I've sort of identified these sort of two mats, I can really enjoy playing even more. And it's like, I'm like, oh yeah, okay. It's sort of like a bull in a bullpen. You just like, you let the, you tap the gate, and I can just go and really enjoy it. And now
Yeah,
when I'm
wow.
off stage, I'm like, okay, you don't have to be that guy. You can sort of, and it's not like I'm putting on a front. It's like, it's just sort of two versions, which I think is just how my mind and body work. But having that big band of brothers who know both of those mats really well makes me really
Yeah,
comfortable.
right. It's
And
so interesting, man. It's just so interesting to talk about the. I went to see a therapist over the last couple of years, and first of all, it's been like the best thing ever. Like I tell
yeah,
everybody,
yeah,
like I got in there and I was like, why did I wait? Like, how did I not do this before? Like, there was a lot, and a lot of it was
yeah,
the same kind of stuff, right? Also, just uh, pressure and nervousness that didn't realize I had. I think because I like being on
yeah,
stage, same thing you're saying, because I like being on stage, I had this idea that there was no nervousness. Oh yeah, I don't get nervous. Well, actually, I do. I just was hiding it. I wasn't looking at it and
yeah.
being like, okay, well, what is it? Why am I nervous? And all these things. It's really, really helped make sense of things. Then you kind of can, as you said, you can identify. Okay, well, actually, I'm more introverted than I realize. I need more time away from that so I can be good on stage. I need to feel good about my private time so I can be, you know.
Totally. Yeah, you got to be an introvert to be a songwriter. But
Yeah.
that's why I think a lot of great performers or a lot of people that we look up to are probably introverts when they're in their sort of home creative zone. But then when they're on tour, they're just like, it's kind of, you kind of, I think, need to have sort of best of both of those worlds to sort of at least sort of have longevity and be able to keep your head in the game, or whatever, for a long period of time. It
And
avoids, I find it confusing, because it's really black and white for me. My tour life and my studio life are completely different,
yeah.
and I really like that. Because I love them both equally, but I need them both to kind of like balance the other one
Do
out.
you ever find that you do tip the scales, that it tips too far on the tour, that you find yourself in a situation where you're like, I'm on the road, I've been on the road too long.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm too maxed out.
Well, there's been a few. I haven't toured like the world excessively like some bands, though. So I've always been had quite a few breaks in between. I've toured a lot, but I love it so much that uh, that I didn't. There's nights where it's like, how am I going to do this tonight? But as soon as that's whatever, half hour before the show, and there's people that come out to the show, and I've never taken that for granted. It's just
Yeah.
because I've started playing for nobody, and every fan is always so, like, I'm so appreciative. That I think that they gave me the spark to be like, oh, okay, let's do this. And then as soon as the band kicks in, and then that connection is established, it's like off to the races. So, and knowing that's going to happen every night, that it never not happened. Sometimes I'm like, I'm sick as a dog. I can barely get out of my
Yeah,
hotel.
yeah, it's weird, eh?
But I just know that that's going to happen on the stage, because it's just because the audience is so incredible. And I feel like I've had such a long 20 years with some of them now, that it's even if there's five people there, I know that that connection will happen, and that cyclical sort of energy will start cranking
Yeah, yeah.
over,
And
and
you give a lot. You give yourself from the minute
yeah,
it starts. You give it.
yeah, totally,
I mean, I think that
yeah,
that's what I find really interesting. Just about what you were talking about too is this idea of like, you the stage is kind of this outward energy, and just making sure that you're repackaged. You're getting enough inward energy to calibrate
right, right.
and to stay creative. I mean, that's as you said. Like speaking, I mean, not to shift into the new record, but the new record, which is rad, by the way.
Oh,
It's a
thanks,
great record, man. It's a great
thanks.
record, Dog City. I mean, but this is quite a departure in that obviously it was made during the pandemic, so it was a total retreat, right? Like this was made by you in
Yeah,
isolation, right? Essentially.
yeah, yeah. I work at two studios here in Toronto, and as soon as the lockdown happened, I couldn't go to either of them, and I kind of had like a small heart attack. I was sort of after about 2 days, I'm like, oh my, what I got to do? I got to figure this out because I need to create. So I got this. I used Amazon for the first time, and ordered. It's actually a hunting case, like a gun case, because it was the right dimensions, and I made a a studio in it. So I got some really small, great Genelec speakers, and I put my computer in, and then all the other stuff you need, and I made it so it was all zip tied into this thing, and I put some flashing cool lights on it, and
No
and I kind of vibed
way.
it up, and then yeah, so I can close it and lock it and take it anywhere now, right? And I call it the Dudio instead of the studio, which I'm probably more proud of the name than.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Part of the
anyways,
creative process.
yeah, yeah. So this was in April, obviously. So it was anybody who was in Ontario knows it was really chilly. But I was waking up at. I decided not to drink or eat poorly through the entire lockdown, and so I get up super early when I'm in that mode. So I was getting up at 5:30 every morning, and going into the garage where it was the only place where I could make noise really, and so I set up the studio, and it was just I had my like 8 sweaters on. I just started this album that I've always sort of conceived of making for the last, I guess, 5 years, and I wanted to call it Dog City, and I wanted it to be about being a dog or
I
just
wondered if you
relationship.
had thought about that before.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
spent a
been
lot of
something in your
time.
mind, because so sorry, just to go on about you should
All
describe what
good.
it's about. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. When I thought of it, I thought I wonder if this has been something that's in his mind, because it's a cool concept.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time with my dog, and I have a really great dog park nearby, and I take her there every day for like an hour. And because I don't work 9 to 5, I can do that, which is great, and it's really nice having especially a young puppy to kind of blow off some steam. But you spend enough time in a dog park, you learn a lot about communication and a lot about affection and love and sort of carnal desires and all sorts
Yeah.
of stuff. Because dogs aren't very different. I think there's a reason why we get along with them so well, and they're extremely funny creatures. I find dogs just hilarious. You know, I laugh more at the dog park than I do at any Netflix comedy special. Like I'm ear to ear smile all the time. I find them hilarious. So, anyways, I just thought it would be kind of neat, a good time. And I don't think I consciously thought about this, but I think looking back, I was so anxious about what was going on that I just started making a record about being a dog in a dog world, so that I didn't have to be in this world so much. So, and
Because it's
yeah, I
from
wrote
it's from the
12.
perspective of the dog.
Yeah, but it's from the perspective of a dog, or it could be a human, really. Like if you listen to the record, you wouldn't really know it's about a dog, you know. But
Yeah.
it is when you if you were to listen to it again, and be like, oh yeah, this is sort of about being a dog. It's sort of more about the relationship between the owner and the dog itself. But yeah, it came out in a hurry. Like I wrote 12 songs in about a month, and I used one older song because it went so well with it, and then I covered a Iggy and the Stooges song, "I Want to Be Your Dog," on it because I wanted to do a cover. But
Okay.
yeah, I did it all in my little studio thing, and
But I
yeah,
mean,
and I mixed it myself.
You must have worked a lot on. I listened to it. I mean, today in detail, man, and it is like it's not a quick. It doesn't sound like you rushed it. Like, I mean, there's detail in all the recordings. They're rich recordings.
Yeah, well, it was great because Tim Jim Baker did all the drums from his
Yeah,
shed. He was out in the freezing cold in the morning too, and Serge Sampson played bass on it.
love it,
So those guys, I would have sort of
love
demos, and
it.
they would send me back these awesome rhythm tracks to put on top of for me to put everything else on top of, you know. But since I had so much time on my hands, all I was doing was jogging and recording pretty much for that whole time. So you put that much time in. I remember like I couldn't wait to go to sleep because I knew I'd get up and I couldn't wait because Tim would send me something the night before and I get super pumped on it and it was just I was just so into it and you know it's just part of the you know the whole ADD thing. It's like I got this thing and my whole mind just like goes berserko and especially if I'm like eating clean and just drinking water, my mind can really, you know, attach onto something, which is great, and add the level of you know, the ingredient of a world pandemic in there, and I'll really get something done.
So
You know.
there's no lack of creative spirit. You got the creative spirit in you is strong.
Well, it's uh, that was very Star Wars-ish, man.
Well, it just I find
that's
it like I just find
that's
it amazing
awesome.
that you know that like you're 20 years into a career, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Some people slow down. Some people just like find it hard to write. Find some people, especially now, you know, I mean, they don't find it actually easier to write, find it harder with these kind of events going on. And you just
yeah,
like I just love it because it feels really liberated. That's one
right.
thing about the record. It feels like you. It feels like you're digging right into your mind, you know. And I was saying this to Joel when he put out the quadruple record. It's a bit like that with him. I like these
Yeah,
records where
yeah,
you kind of feel like you're going into like the weirder parts of your mind. You're like, oh yeah, no,
right,
that's only Matt. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Which I
right.
dig. So you know, it's just nice to see that 20 years in the game that you got the fire.
Yeah, I mean it's man, it comes at the weirdest times, obviously, but sometimes it's not all the time, you know. Like as soon as I was finished Dog City, what was cool about it is that I was doing my Mantle Music weekly concerts on YouTube,
Yeah.
and I thought it'd be fun. I told the viewers that I have a record almost done, and I let them decide what day I would release it. And somebody said May 17th, which is 2 weeks away from that time, and I was like, okay, I'll release it in 2 weeks. So I released it.
Sure.
So I had, yeah. So I just because it kicked me in the ass to finish it, and
Yeah, yeah.
I did. I stayed up for 3 days at the end to get it done, and I mixed it, and I wrote the last song, which is kind of neat. I've never done this before. I don't think many people have. I wrote a song called New Tricks the night before, the day before I released the album, you know, and Kate Dyke from Newfoundland sang on it, and I mixed it like literally the hour before I released it on Bandcamp or whatever. So it's kind of neat to have such new music and not sitting around humming and hawing like
Yeah,
Timber
yeah.
is too loud or whatever.
I
It was
also
just so
love it.
cool
Don't
to,
you love that you can do that now?
yeah, I know. It was so great. And knowing that there was like, you know, I released it, I also let them decide what time, and somebody said 6 a.m. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to get up. I'm going to stay up all night, work on this and mixing. And anyway, so yeah, and it was so fun to just like, I released the album and there's people that were on Instagram that were waiting up for it, which was really cool. And then, but once it was done, it's sort of like tumbleweeds sort of go by and it's like, there's still a quarantine going on. I was like sucked back into my real world, and so yeah, I haven't written. That's not true. I've written a song since, but I haven't had anything that's really kind of consuming like
Focus the
that. So it's a
energy.
matter
Yeah.
of finding that now. Yeah, I've
Well,
been wanting to come home to record with the guys. I almost came home, but then the airlines sort of stop the social distancing, and I made better judgment of not coming home quite yet and do the self isolation thing. But I have a bunch of songs ready to go with the band too, which I'm
oh
excited to
wow.
get going with.
Yeah. See, that's amazing. It's amazing
Yeah,
that you got that. Well, I mean, and the fans responded, right? People dug it.
yeah, yeah. No, totally. Like I got the best like. The one record I just like kick out in a couple weeks, like exclaim like that the best, like like I've like toiled
I
over
actually
records and
read the
they're like
exclaim.
man, like
I read the
whatever.
exclaim review today actually, and I was like, wow, look at that, man, loving it.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, that's okay. Note to self: make more animal records, I guess.
Totally
But
weird records in your house by yourself in the studio. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I just got a 4-track, an old 4-track cassette recorder, like kind of very similar to the first one I ever had.
Oh, cool.
So I was thinking about doing a record on that, just to, you know, to just to with old cassette machines, you kind of have to get the know the song right really well before you can record. Now you can like punch in and cheat so much that
Yeah.
it's I kind of it'd be nice to get back to basics and really make sure the song is good and arranged well, and
Yeah, the
that might feel
pre-pro
like a good
element,
exercise.
just laying it all, the foundations. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. How is your summer going? What's
Oh,
going on?
this is what's going on, man.
I
I'm a tech nerd now, dude. It's crazy. I watch YouTube videos made by gamers that teach me how to figure out streaming. It's it
That's
is, and I'm
awesome.
making an instrumental record right now. I'm
Are
making
you?
an
Oh,
instrumental record.
deadly.
I haven't told anybody. This is the first, and now I've told everybody. But
Oh, great.
yeah, man, it actually Leith's involved,
Oh, that's
and
a good call.
Leith's
Great.
involved, and Josh Fantastic Boy play with a guy named Dean Trueyard in Toronto. Asa,
Yeah.
who play two guys who play in your band, man.
Oh, nice, killer.
Asa's
Awesome.
playing, yeah. So it's an amazing group. Same deal, man. Everybody's looking for something to get into.
Yeah.
I've always loved instrumental music. We share that. I play
Yeah.
trumpet, and so I've been in here recording and figuring out how to record and just sending tracks off to other people and just having a blast. Just like again, having some. I'm taking care of my kids full time during the day, so the days are
Yeah.
crazy, and then I come out here and then just go wild for a few hours, and then wake
And,
up super tired.
and not have to come up with lyrics. That's something that must be really nice. I
I
mean,
got it.
I find lyrics really difficult, and just to like, I'm sure you put that energy into coming up with great melodies and songs. Still, I don't doubt that, but just having a break from like questioning
Yep.
lyrics, I find would
No
be
doubt,
really
man.
nice.
11 records of lyrics, and now I'm just like, and you know what? And my like first, all my first loves in music were jazz and instrumental music. It's always been my main thing. So it's been really cool. And all these people, I'm like you, and then I love players. I love great musicians. And so to
Yeah,
have these people laying down these amazing, like I just write the head. It's like jazz, right? And then they just like it's almost just about the solos. And
right.
we're blessed with amazing musicians, and we get to experience this. And
Yeah,
now, as you said, there's all the. It was actually really inspiring how you released that record, because I think it just opens the door to how we can do things now.
yeah,
You've got this great relationship with your fans, like through Mantle Music. You were doing those every right. You're doing the YouTube things every week. People show up, then you can release a record, and you realize that like, okay, well, touring's out off can't do touring's off the market right now. We're not
yeah.
doing that. So what are your other options to connect? And then I think a lot of people have found all these interesting ways to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think again it was just to keep sane, and I think
Right.
Adam Baldwin's Chin Up sessions really inspired me. I was like on the chat
Totally.
thing, seeing all my old buds chatting and stuff, and but yeah, it was like everybody was taking up new hobbies. Actually, one thing you might find kind of interesting is I blew off the dust of my old tenor saxophone. I've had the same one since '92,
Sounds
and
like I'm going to be sending some
it's
tracks to you, brother.
it's
You're going to be laying some studio down.
Yeah, it's a piece of crap, so it was a bit of a struggle. But I did my own horn parts on Dog City. I did the saxophone section on Talking to the Sky, it's called.
That's
And
my favorite track, by the way. Favorite track.
oh, awesome, thanks. Leah Faye from July Talk sings backup on it, and then I heard the saxophone in my head, and then the saxophone on first, and then I sent it to her, and the next day she put the vocals on that the day before the release too, and then I heard her vocals on it. It just made it like four-dimensional because it was a bit two-dimensional, and she just put the vocals on, and it was like so
Oh, it's
special.
great. I had no idea
But
you did the sax. That's next level, buddy. That's
I
great.
didn't think I could remember it, but it was amazing how fast it came back. I was pretty pumped about it. You can tell when you listen to it, it's not a proficient player played that part,
It's
but
deep in the mix.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it was all part of the whole like not giving a darn about anything as far as just want to do it, just make something fun, just do it and put it out. That
Yeah.
was the exercise. It wasn't about making like a perfect record. It was about seeing if I could just do it, and that let off the vice grips enough
Right.
to be able to make it happen.
To the point that you were playing saxophone by the end.
To the point I was playing a saxophone that hasn't been touched with old reeds for 30 years. Yeah.
That's bold. That is great. I mean, it is. But you know what I think? Talking about going back to that record particularly is that, and I think some of your records have talked about this, is that there is this looseness to it. It's like you've got this the liberated feel of time, but there's also like there's serious. It's serious. There's a lot of talk of this like in the dog relationship. When you have a dog or you've saved a dog, who saves who? You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
You've got a song that speaks
Rescue human. Yeah.
exactly like. And so, and I just want to show the audience because I want to show the audience your dogs. You sent me
Oh
pictures.
yeah.
You're not
Okay,
gonna be able
yeah,
to see
right.
these, but they are. Here's Clementine.
That's
Come on,
Clemmy.
so sweet. Now
She's an Italian greyhound.
okay. And how
She's
long?
it's like a miniature greyhound. She's a little
Okay.
teeny tiny thing. Yeah.
And how
Yeah,
long have you
she's
had her?
uh Clemmy, she's not. I think she'll be 10 next January. Um, but I got her when I lived in New York City, and so she was a city dog for a while. And then I went off the rails, and I gave her to my folks because I couldn't be a good dog dad. I was having like it was just too. I went through the loss of a friend and breakup, and I just couldn't be there for her. So my parents took her, and now they won't give her back because they fell in love with her so
No
much.
way. Wow.
She loves him so much too, and they were living in St. Margaret's Bay, so she's a greyhound, so she just does laps around the house. So I get to see her all the time because my folks moved to Ontario this year, so we have all these really great dog mixer parties,
Okay.
which is so fun. Because Rhubarb, Christine and I's dog,
All right.
she's just
Here
two.
comes rhubarb, and there's
Ruby,
rhubarb. It's a
yeah,
professional show I got going on here.
uh, Ruby's Ruby's a really she's something special too. They're both just really very smart. They're very full of character, and they're both kind of needy, but that makes you kind of get up and get out and look after them. And I mean, I think they give back so much more than we give them. But Ruby is just a card. She's so great, and especially through like a pandemic or quarantine lockdown, having a dog like character piece like that in a family home just really kind of dogs really make everything sort of ease and ebb and flow easy, like in a family that can get some pretty rough edges developed pretty quick, but they kind of keep everything sanded down and smooth with everybody for some reason
Right.
without even knowing they're doing it, so but yeah, she's a great dog. Yeah.
And that's kind of, I mean, I think I guess that's what there's this idea of who saves who. And I guess I kind of wondered now, where were you? Like, how personal is this? Like, how personal are these stories of these dogs? Like, where were you and where are you now? And do you feel like there's been a transformation in your life since becoming a dog owner? It's a big question,
So
but
yeah, absolutely. Like I never really knew about dogs until I was in my 20s because we never really had dogs, and so between then and now, I mean, I didn't know. I was even kind of afraid to touch dogs. I didn't know, it was weird. But until now, where I'm making records about being one or whatever, it's been the spectrum has been sort of formed or completed. But yeah, I mean, there's just such emotional creatures, and I mean, I got Clementine's name on my neck tattooed for darn sakes because she really got me. I was sort of couch surfing and was really depressed without knowing it. I needed help, and she really, dogs can feel that, and she was always there for me, and got me out of bed when I needed to, and which makes me like, okay, I should get up and go for a run because she needs to run, and I went running, and then if you run 5 days a week, your anxiety gets cut down by 70%, and
yeah,
then it's like, okay, next step, and so yeah, I mean, I owe her a lot, and her brain is the size of a walnut, you know, but but her level of compassion and emotion and just awareness is like crazy, So that's what's beautiful about it. You can put your full trust in them. You can tell them anything, and they won't tell anybody.
right.
It's pretty great.
And how do you look back on
So
those years now?
I think it was all part of the thing. I'm a pretty wild dude at times, and I think it's because of self-medicating of I think a mix of my anxiety about going out, and I think I just in my DNA have come from a long line of, you know, uh, I'm just always like looking for stimulation and good times or just a neat conversation with a stranger at a bar, and which is the total opposite of my quieter self. So I think there's a lot of clashiness between those personalities, and I think I had a really great time, and I traveled I would just leave on a trip to Morocco, and I would go, and it was great, and I'm really proud of myself for kind of having the guts to go and explore myself, is even almost to the edge, you know. But then we lost Jay, and then everything kind of turned around, and it took me years to even face what happened, you know. But again, going back to having a really great therapist and sort of taking it down a piece at a time, which is totally doable. You can actually see it happen, and you know, sometimes you'll go 2 weeks going to sessions and you won't feel anything, you'll question it, and then you'll have one session, it'll be like boom, you know, it'll just sort of knock your whole week out of the park, and some realization you broke the plateau. But yeah, it totally, looking back now, I think because I was raised well, and I'm a good person, I look back on it sort of as sort of a chapter that I had to go through
Right.
and explore, you know.
And did you take a lot, like how much time after Jay's passing did you, so Jay was a guitar player in your band for years, who
Yes.
I knew, everybody knew and loved, and
Yeah.
around here he was an absolute staple of the scene, and he was the sweetest guy imaginable. It was, and
Yeah.
I can't imagine, you know, and you, it was a member of your band. How long like after that happened did you go and say, okay, I got to do something? Was there a period of time where you kind of like, okay, I'm just going to keep on going, and or did you realize you needed to face it right away?
Well, at first, like I mean, we played the night that the night of the day he passed away, because we honestly didn't know what else to do, and we chalked it up to what we decided what would Jay want us to do, even though we are all in a state of shock.
Of course.
Um, but we only knew how to play. We couldn't imagine sitting on an airplane right then and there, you know,
Yeah.
or sit in a hotel and just go crazy. So we took a bit of flack, but I know we made the right decision.
You
But
can't take flack after something like that. I mean, I think any action after something as large, as traumatizing as that is very difficult to
yeah,
you know.
it's asinine to try to decide what somebody should do in that
That's right.
position. Somebody
What's the
else, you know,
rational
it's
thing to
ridiculous.
do? It's not rational. That it doesn't matter. It's not about that at that point. You're trying to
Yeah.
just get through.
What really turned me around was, I think Minglewood told me first time I ever really talked to him. I remember he said something along the lines like, "You did the right thing playing. You know, like, you know, I've lost a lot of buds, and that's what you got to do. You got to play through it." And I was
Wow.
like, "I really appreciate that, Matt. That's awesome." And but it was, you know, what you want to do is what you think you should do, is to I don't know, you drink it away or whatever, blah blah blah, and you can't face it because it's just something like that is too, you know, it's a lot of self blame and guilt and guilt and guilt to the point where you can't take it, and you don't trust some new shrink to just bring up something this huge with, you know, but really you should, and you can. I've learned that, you know. But I think it was again just having a really good support system of friends, and just really focusing on that one little pilot light that you know is there, but you can't see it, and just gradually. It wasn't like I gotta fix this up. It was gradual for me, and still is. Like I'm still gradually getting better and finding myself. You know, turning 40 was a big one for me. It's somehow time just starts when you turn 40, at least for
Right.
me, and it's been the best thing that I think that's ever happened to me. But it's turning 40, and it's I sort of feel like I have the confidence and life experience now to take on everything and have sort of look back on you know what has happened and apply it to other to prevention or other friends or whatever,
Yeah.
mental health and things like that, you know. And yeah, it's you know, every day's still hard, you know. It's not it's like, you know, it's something very serious, but it's just learning how to take it seriously and learn to live with it, and all that, you know, and apply it to making music and being putting my emotion to put into music that makes people smile and fall in love or dance with each other in front of the fire at the lake, you know, turn it into something kind of really bad into something beautiful, metamorphosize it into some kind of magic that sort of makes people feel better instead of worse, right? And that's
Yeah.
sort of what I feel like my job is now, I guess.
Well, I really admire the fact also that you've been open about all this stuff. Do you know, like it's like the
Uh,
process? I feel like you have been open. It's not you're not just going out on stage and you're not being just a rock star that just says life is good, man. Like some you're open about, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
you're open
yeah,
about like
totally. Yeah,
like
I do. It's weird because people have mentioned that, or thank me for my, being candid with this stuff and uh, being open with this stuff. And I don't find it hard at all. I don't have, if people ask me, how I'm doing, I have no problem telling them or talking about this. Or it's not like confrontational to me. To me, it's part of. I think it's going to help everybody to talk
yeah,
about it.
right.
And and it was just, it's incredibly common. It's too common not to talk about.
That's it.
I mean, I think the shell of the stigma just got tapped with a hammer, and I think we're making some good headway. And I think the more we talk about it, and the more we realize it's, the mind is much more fragile than our arms and legs, and we break those all the time. And I think it's time to, you know I think people are finally starting to realize that it's okay to have a broken mind sometimes, because it can mend just as fast, probably faster than a
That's right.
femur sometimes, if
That's
you have
right.
the right help. And you have to want to, just like anything else. You have, like, if you break your leg, if you go to physio every day and listen to what they say, you probably won't have a limp. But if decide to screw off physio, you'll probably have a limp. So just do it right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Get a second opinion on a physiotherapist you like,
Yeah,
or a psychotherapist you like.
that's it,
It's the
man.
same thing. It's
Yeah.
all just
It's
it's
about
just physical matter.
it's about seeing them as the same. I think it's just awesome what you're saying, because I think it is. It's about seeing it as the same and not being a total seen as being like completely debilitating. I think for a long time the idea was like, well, if there's something, at least in my mind, for a long time the idea of any kind of mental illness or depression or anything was the idea was like, well, if I have it, I'm sick and I can't do anything, right? Like this was
Yeah,
it was just like, oh,
yeah.
I'm doomed forever.
And that's with depression. That's the whole thing with depression. That's why it's a tough one, because it's telling you all those things, right?
Right.
And that's when it's sort of like that. It's that the that pilot light, or just that one, you do that one jog. The second jog the next day is twice as easy as
Yeah.
that first one. It's twice. It's just, but doing that first one, man, I know it well. It's sometimes I'll go months. I'm just like, I just can't do it. I can't do it, and that's okay too. You're at least thinking about going for that run, and
Yeah.
that should be celebrated. That's the celebration that day. If you thought about it,
One
and
step
then maybe
closer.
go with the next day.
Yeah.
Think about it for a month if you have to. But you're thinking about it, and I think a lot of people are so hard on themselves these days, including myself, to the point where that you cause your own self anxiety, because
Yeah.
all these idiots on all these bozos on Instagram posting their pictures of their asses and stuff, and like their awesome, perfect
You didn't
family
see mine from
vacations and
today
things.
then? Come on, buddy. My six pack at Long Lake.
There should be, like, they should call it like bozo day on Instagram, where it's everybody posts their most bozo, horrible camera angle,
Oh
like
man.
bad gym pic. There should be a bylaw that everybody should do. This is actually me,
Yeah,
like
that's right.
Meatball Monday, like, or something,
I'm in.
where
But the thing is, it's actually liberating. It's kind of like what you said, like this from the beginning. This idea of like these two worlds of having like kind of a private, anxious world, and then this public world. But when you start to come to grips with this idea of being more open with people, as you have been with your fans, then all of a sudden you don't need to be as nervous about hiding those parts of your personality, because you've shared them. You haven't been hiding them. I think we're moving into an era where that's becoming more the norm, where the idea of being a performer or being a public figure is you're not necessarily expected to assume that everything's perfect. No one is. Everybody knows that
oh,
everybody deals with stuff.
oh yeah, totally, exactly. It's funny how, like, I mean, I'm a dude from Coal Harbor in a rock and roll band, and rock and roll is not popular anymore, which is I'm kind of into because it's underground again. But what I'm saying is, though, like, that whole machismo, testosterone, rock and roll stuff is so stupid all of a sudden, because people are really bringing attention to where it came from. And there's a lot of great rock and roll bands, and a lot of great attitude is a big part of rock and roll, but, like, it still could be a good attitude. But I can see things changing for the better so rapidly now, that whole sort of bozo scene is gonzo. And I
Right.
think Kurt Cobain was a big help in pushing that forward, and and as far as I guess I'm getting into a different territory here, as far as sort of the testosterone driven rock
Yeah,
and roll
yeah, yeah.
music that
I mean, he
everybody
basically
gets,
said, like, listen, all the, yeah, I was bullied. He was basically bullied, right? Like, that's kind of, he came out and said,
yeah,
like, listen, you love me now, but I was bullied. And then, so it kind of like,
yeah.
he was one of those first people that kind of said that. And we were like, oh, wait, you weren't always the coolest guy ever? No, no, I wasn't. Like,
Yeah, yeah, he wasn't trying to be any. He was the first sort of guy, male, to be like, you know, I'm not going to be that way or whatever. He
right.
wasn't the first, but he was. I think in my lifetime, I guess he was, and uh, and I don't know. It's amazing. There's all sorts of. I don't know. I just it's really exciting time for music. Is that just cross culture, gender, everything now. It seems to be so much more eclectic, and it's sort of this big, beautiful, awesome frisbee flying through the sky, but we're all together on it. It's I don't know.
Who's talking Star Wars
I,
now, buddy?
yeah, yeah. But what I guess, but to bring it back to mental health is that I think there's a lot more acceptance there for everything if you're not, a bozo, and if you
Yeah,
educate yourself. You know what I mean? And I
absolutely.
think that's
Well,
when,
self-awareness leads you to not being like that, right? Like being able to accept
yeah,
your weaknesses is all part of this idea of being kind of like, it's going to keep you from being a bozo because you're looking at yourself in a real way, and you're looking at your whatever, your imperfections or whatever you want to call them, and it
yeah,
helps. I mean, it keeps it real.
yeah, totally.
One
It's
thing
like,
you always say that I love, and actually you posted it the other day, but it's I think it was like your like a handle on your Twitter too for a long time was the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing.
yes, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Yeah, it's carved on a wooden plaque on a little crab shack in Newport Beach. Yeah, that's where I got it from. It's in a crab from a crab. It's called a crab cooker. But
I
anyways, but
I've
I always
always
thought it was the best sort of saying, and I kind of took it over. Yeah,
it's the
it
best.
it,
It's the
it is
best.
the best.
And so what's
Yeah,
what's the main thing?
I think the main thing is the main thing, right? You know, that's the whole thing that's great about it. I think it makes me kind of just know what the main thing is, and I think there's like a main thing with my family, a main thing with my relationship, main thing with me first, which I think has to come first to make all the other things, work, and and um, and yeah, I mean, I think the music is obviously a big main thing for me, and I think if they're all sort of orbiting around the main thing, uh, sort of equidistantly,
Yeah,
so then I think I'm happiest. So, and I have still a lot of work to do before that happens, but I think that it's important to realize we're not perfect and to enjoy the ride because it's not a very long one on that
hmm
old frisbee flying through the sweet cosmos of youth.
sweet cosmos of youth. Yeah, that's right. Oh man, man, I miss you.
Yeah,
I miss you, buddy.
yeah, you too.
It's really nice to get to do this, and I hope you
It
get
is.
home. I hope I get to see you out here this summer.
I'm gonna be safe about it, but I'm coming home. If I yeah,
It's a great
yeah.
place to isolate. Nova
Um,
Scotia, a great place to isolate.
Canada's ocean isolation
That's
ground.
a isolation playground.
But yeah, I'll be coming home, and if I have to play the Shore Club to a video camera, I'm gonna try to do it this August. So we're gonna be back.
Right on.
We're gonna be.
Someone's been asking about the short club. That's a couple of the
Oh
questions.
yeah.
There's been lots of people commenting on how much they're enjoying hearing from you, man. And you've
Oh
got
good.
great fans. You've built a beautiful thing. It's so inspiring. It's so
I'm very
awesome.
lucky. Yeah, that's my gang, and I know we're neither of us are going anywhere, so it's awesome. And but well, yeah, we're gonna try to get something going at the end of the summer. I don't know what it's gonna be, but we're gonna play. I'm gonna play somewhere in August at home. So
That's rad. Oh, good. That's perfect, man. Well, get in
yeah,
touch. Get in touch when you come home.
I will, man. I
But
will. Let's set a
thank you.
coffee.
Thanks so much for doing this and for being so real and honest. It's awesome. Appreciate it.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, man. Awesome.
Yeah,
Take it easy, and
sure.
congrats on the show, man. It's
Hey,
awesome.
I love it. I love it. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, it
Appreciate it.
suits you.
Right on.
All right, adios.
Peace.
See
See
you,
ya.
man. Frisbees for life.
That's right. All right, folks. Thanks very much. I'll get that. There we go. Thank you. Thanks very much to Matt and to everybody else. I hope you've enjoyed it. I just want to say that was just amazing. I love Matt. He's so great. I hope you've really enjoyed it. Please share it with your friends when it's over. We're trying to build this thing, this late night talk show from my house. But hopefully we'll do this again real soon. In fact, we are going to do it real soon. August 6th is the next episode, and it's going to be with the amazing Jeremy Dutcher. Jeremy Dutcher, if you don't know who he is, he's an amazing musician from New Brunswick, and you got to check out his music. I can't wait to talk about his music, talk with him. He's an incredibly intelligent, interesting guy, and I think it's going to be a great conversation. August 6th. So join me then. Thanks everybody for listening, for watching. Frisbees for life. That's right. As Matt said, frisbees for life. We'll keep on doing this. Please get in touch. Let me know what you thought of the show. If you get any, guest recommendations or conversations we should have, let me know. We're gonna do this together. We're gonna build this together, and it's gonna be real fun. So we'll talk to you real soon. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the great weather. Be kind to yourselves. All right. Peace. See you soon.